But now you're here. A comedic safe haven. The Last Hurrah! Last chance to have fun!
What's going on?
Our Last Hurrah political insider, Scott Travers, informed me a while ago that Jan Gardner and Blaine Young are fixing to do a ton of debates.
Who are those people? For the listeners.
Yes. Blaine Young and Jan Gardner are the Republican and Democratic frontrunners for the county executive position for Frederick County. Scott told me they wanted 10 debates. I read it was 5. But Scott said they've already done like 4, and they still want to keep doing it. So what I'd like to do is invite Jan Gardner and Blaine Young to come on this show and do a debate. And to prove to them that we know our stuff, I have written out a little script of what it would be like were they to appear here and do a debate.
Am I Blaine or Jan?
You're Blaine.
Sorry. I imagine you would be a smoker.
I think you're right.
I feel like we need some good newsreel music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Last Hurrah. I'm your host, Kevin Cole. Tonight is a very special show because it may very well be the last hurrah for one of our 2 panelists. The last political hurrah, that is. Sitting with me today are Jan Gardner and Blaine Young. Miss Gardner is the Democratic frontrunner for county executive. Mr. Young is the Republican frontrunner for the same position. Much like the Highlander, there can be only one. Tonight, we will come to a definitive conclusion as to who that one shall be. Candidates, you will be given 3 minutes for each of your questions, and then a 1-minute rebuttal, should it be deemed necessary to rebut. And should you go over time, you will be spritzed with water. It's a new technique being used in all major debates to keep answers concise, as we all know how these things tend to drag on. Any last-minute thoughts before we start?
I don't know how I feel about the whole water thing. Oh, shit!
Too bad! Them's the breaks, kid. Now, on to our first question.
Oh, I screwed my hair today, too. Damn it, Kevin.
On to our first question.
Sorry, what?
What is your favorite color, and what makes it superior to the favorite color of your opponent? Miss Gardner, you may begin.
Blue.
That's it?
I don't know Mr. Young's preferred color.
You yield the remainder of your time?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
I'm a purple man myself, as stated in America the Beautiful. We are a nation known for our Purple Mountain's majesty, and while Frederick is not entirely mountainous, I feel the mountain folk of Frederick County cannot be overlooked.
Your response, Miss Gardner?
Well, blue is one of the colors in our great flag. It's as American as they come, and it's actually visible. What Mr. Young fails to consider is the fact that our mountains are not purple, but a diverse range of colors stemming from bright green to dark brown.
Thank you, Miss Gardner. On to our next question. Recently, Frederick's own Sheriff Jenkins said that if we don't get the immigration problem under control at our nation's borders, every county could become a border county. So the question is, would you support building a fence around Frederick County? Mr. Young, you have the floor.
If I may begin by referring to my colleague's previous statement, I do know what a mountain looks like. In fact, I have seen many mountains, and I understand that they are present in a wide range of color. As a Boy Scout, I spent a lot of time on mountains, gazing out over the fruitful plains, thinking to myself, America, America, God shed his grace on thee. And that he did, for this country was founded on values, and here in Frederick County, I believe we strive to extend those values to our citizens with lower taxes, smaller government, because the rain may help the trees grow, but it ought not be taxed.
Woo!
Miss Gardner, your thoughts on building a fence around Frederick County?
While it's true our nation is in a serious need of immigration reform, a blanketed political stance I can take is a stand-in for Jan Gardner. I cannot abide by a fence surrounding Frederick County. Aside from the fact that the fence fails to do the job on our current border, one outlining this county would be hell for commuters and an unnecessary burden on taxpayers. It's this kind of spending based upon fear-mongering that we must fight against, and that I will continue to fight against as county executive. Woo!
Mr. Young, your rebuttal?
I think I've made my point.
All right. On to our final question for this debate preview. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict recently rocked the Gaza Strip, doing more damage than any rock band ever did to their own equipment. While a ceasefire stands, there's no telling when violence may Arab Spring back into action. So I pose this to you. Israelis and Palestinians. They can't both be right.
Woo!
So the challenge goes out to you, Jan Gardner and Blaine Young. Come on this show.